Salve Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, et spes nostra salve. A te clamamus, exules Filii Fei.
Hello everybody, a very good day to one and all. This is Fraser Andrade from the Herald Digital team here in the village of Raya, bringing unto you the insights into the historical facts that how the parish of Raya was associated strongly with that of Rachol.
A te clamamus.
Even though it's raining quite heavily, you will see that the parishioners of Raya are very enthusiastic about their parish feast. Firstly, because it's the feast of their patroness, that is Our Lady of Snows, and secondly because this is the first feast of the harvest season. Every year, the Church of Raya celebrates the harvest festival or the Feast of the Harvest on the 5th of July. And only after the 5th of July celebration in Raya, all other churches do celebrate the same Feast of Harvest in their respective parishes. Historically, the parish of Raya did not have a church of its own. It came under the Church of Our Lady of Snows that was in Rachol. So it was only in about 1565 that a Jesuit brother called Mr. Caldera, whose full name was George Caldera, so he has written a letter to Lisbon requesting for a new church to be constructed for the parishioners of Raya. He mentions clearly that there were a lot of Christians in Raya who had to walk quite a distance to reach the church of Rachol. The foundation stone for the church in Raya was laid only in 1668 and was completed in 1699. So it took almost 30 years for its construction. It is believed that the residents of Raya and residents of Kamurli were majorly responsible for contributing funds to the construction of the church. When the church was completed, it was consecrated by the Archbishop of Goa called Agustin de Annunciação. Now, even though the Jesuits played an important role during that time, we really don't know why the Archbishop would be invited to consecrate this church. From the time of its construction until when the Jesuits were expelled in 1759, you have a lot of Jesuits that were here, and the last Jesuit that is known to have served this parish is Antonio Pereira. So after 1759, this church came under the Archdiocese of Goa and till date is under the Archdiocese of Goa. Every year, this church is given the privilege to celebrate the harvest festival before any other parish in the state. There is an interesting story to this, which I will reveal to you in a short while.
Et spes nostra salve. A te clamamus.
The word Raya comes from the Kannada word for a king, that is Rai. So in Konkani, if you notice, this place is referred to as Rai, right? So hence, you have the Kadamba rulers who had their kings residing in this place, who were referred to as Rai in Kannada, right? So from there we have this word that has been incorporated into Konkani and is used as a local word, or the name of this region today comes from there and is hence called as Rai or Raya. The neighboring village to this place is called Raitura or Rachol as it is known today. Earlier it was known as Raitura, and Raitura was nothing but another ward that was part of Raya in the good old days.
Benedictus fructus ventris tui, nobis.
So here we are now at the magnificent seminary of Rachol. But what does the Rachol seminary have to do with Raya? What connection does it have? Well, it has to do a lot. First and foremost, to mention to you, the Archbishop of Goa, permitted the residents of Raya to attend Sunday services at the Church of St. Ignatius of Loyola that was housed in the College of St. Ignatius of Loyola in Rachol. But why? So this is because at that point of time Raya did not have its own parish, right? So for some time until the new church was built, they attended services here. This would be probably around the time period of about 1620 until 1700 or about 1699 or so. Secondly, in the early 17th century, Raya was struck by a famine. So it was during these bad times for the residents of Raya, the Jesuits of the seminary of Rachol came to their rescue. More more to mention about is the rector of the rector of the then college, who was Gaspar Suarez, who played a very important role in helping and providing for the requirements of the residents of Raya in these hard times. So these are the two important connections that, among others probably, that Rachol Seminary or College had with the residents of Raya of those days.
Ea ergo advocata nostra, illos tuos misericordes oculos ad nos convertem.
So here we are at the oldest parish in South Goa, which is none other than the Our Lady of Snows Church of Rachol. So this church has a long history dating back to about 1560. Some say it was in 1576 when a small chapel or a small church structure was built and later enlarged in 1596. But other references also mention that there was a chapel already existing in 1520, right in this place, which was dedicated to Saint John the Baptist. So it was only after the church was built that it was dedicated to Our Lady of Snows. Now, what connection does this church have with the church in Raya? So, interestingly, since I have mentioned earlier that Raya is the first parish that celebrates the Feast of the Harvest on the 5th of July, so on this day, when after the feast mass, in a procession, you have one member of the Comunidad of Raya along with the respected individuals from that parish who get a sheaf of the paddy field and offer it to this parish here, probably acknowledging the fact that this was their original parish church and the church that they are in now came up much later, as this church being called as the mother church of South Goa or the Igreja Matriz of South Goa. Okay, so if you look at this church here, to mention to you, there were three major burials that happened in this church. The first burial is that of the captain of the fort, whose name was Diogo de Rodrigues. Secondly, you have the martyrs of Kunkoli that were buried here, and thirdly, in the cemetery of this church, you have the burial of Reverend Padre Ragnell, a to be canonized saint from Goa. Okay, so these are the three major burials that happened in this church. Another thing to inform here is this church celebrates its harvest feast on the Sunday following the 5th of July. So, no matter what, the 5th is always reserved for the Raya church, and afterwards, the coming Sunday following the 5th is the harvest festival at this church that you see behind me. Now, why does Raya have the privilege of celebrating the feast first is a question, and there is an interesting story to that. So this is what happened centuries ago, and according to a legendary story, locals have to say that it seems in one particular year there was a dispute between the Raya church and the Rachol church, wanting to celebrate the feast first. So what was decided at the end was that since both the churches were undergoing maintenance, whichever church completed the roofing work first would be allowed to celebrate the feast first. So the people of Raya were a bit, wanted to win this challenge of completion of the feast first. And what they do is, instead of covering their roof with terracotta tiles, to complete the task earlier, what they do is they use coconut palm fronds and cover the entire church before Rachol, and hence win this challenge, and hence were given the privilege of celebrating this feast before the church of Rachol. So this is a fun fact about these two parishes that you see here. So this parish this year will be celebrating its feast on the 11th of July, that is a Sunday. So do come and have a look at the celebrations here.
Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, et spes nostra salve, ad te clamamus, exules Filii Fei, ad te suspiramus, gementes et flentes, in ac lacrimam vale. Ea ergo advocata nostra, illos tuos misericordes oculos ad nos convertem, et Iesus benedictus fructus ventris tui.
म्हजें नांव गाब्रियल फुर्तादो, हांव राशोलचो पॅरिशनर. आतां आमचें ह्या दिसांनी राया 5 तारखेर कोणसाचें व्हडलें फेस्त जातलें, जायतो लोक येता तिका, आनी तेज्या उपरांत मागीर ते कोणोस कातुल्ले म्हणटूच ते आमकां राशोल धाडून दितात आमचे इगोजेक. आनी मागीर आमकां फर्स्ट संडे येता तेन्ना, म्हणजे तो 5 तारीख फेस्त जालें म्हणटूच आमकां फर्स्ट संडे येता तेन्ना आमी आमचें हें फेस्त मनयता, पणसाचें फेस्त आमचे राशोल हितून. आनी आदल्या तेंपार जायतो लोक येतालो हिंगा फेस्ताक, पूण आतां तितलो जायना. आनी पूण फेरी बेरी येताली, आतां फेरी येयना. आनीक आमचे कॉन्फ्रात भाव जावं पॅरीश कावन्सील, दुसरे एरिये सगळे एकठांय जावन आमी फेस्त व्हडा गणगणान करता.
ओके, आतां तुवें कॉफ्रार मेन्शन केल्या, सो ह्या इगोर्जेक कितल्यो कॉफ्राऱ्यो आसा आनी खंयची कॉफ्रार हें फेस्त करता?
आमचे 3 कॉफ्रारी आसात. एक प्राझेरीस कॉफ्रारिया, दुसरी बॉन जेजूस, आनीक तिसरी तुका सांतीम साक्रामेंट. म्हणटच हें आमी कॉफ्रारिया करनात, पूण आख्खो गांव करतात.
ओके.
आनी दुसरी फेस्तां आसात आमची, ती बॉन जेजूसचें ते बॉन जेजूस करता. प्राझेरीस तुका ते फेब्रुवारीच्या म्हयन्यान जातात, तें प्राझेरीस कॉफ्रारिया करता. आनी हे भाशेन सगळे आमी चडशे पॅरीश कावन्सील आसा ते आमी आतां चड भार घेतात. आनीक पॅरीश कावन्सील सगळें थारायता कोण भाशेन फेस्त करपाक जाय, कशें करपाक जाय, कलेक्शन करून आमी फेस्त करता.
बट पयलींच्यान पॅरीश कावन्सील पयलींच्यान कॉफ्रार इनवॉल्वड आसा?
पॅरीश कावन्सील जायत सान आमी पॅरीश कावन्सील.
आनी आदीं कोण करता?
आदीं ते इगोज फाब्रिका करताले, पूण सगळ्यांक बरोबर घेवन करतात ते आमी. फाब्रिका, तुजे एर कॉफ्रारिया, कॉफ्र आनी पॅरीश कावन्सील.
ओके. आनी तुमी पळय शेत बेंजार करतात कोणसां, त्या शेताक उमकें नांव आसा? कसलें नांव आसा? लायक फॉर एग्जाम्पल रायचे इगोर्जेक ते शेताक सायबिणीची कोणगी म्हणटा,
तेच भाशेन आमकां हिंगा ती आसा कोणगी, पूण ते नांव नाका हांव ते शेताचें. आसा शेताचें नांव म्हाका तितलें याद ना.
ओके ओके.
आसा ही पळय लागींच आहा शेताची कोणगी आसा.
ओके. आनी पाद्री तुमी वचोन बेंजार करता ते मागीर?
पाद्री बेजार करता.
आनी तुमचे फेस्ताचे मीस कितल्यांक आसता मागीर?
फेस्ताचे मीस आतां सद्याक आमी 8-15 दवरतात.
सकाळी.
हय पयलीं 8:15 कोणोस काततात आनी मागीर मीस.
आनी सदांच तुमची मिसां सकाळीं जातालीं वा सांजची जातालीं वा आतां चेंज जाल्या तशें?
ना नोवेनाचे मीस आमी चडशे सांजचेच करतात
पयलींच्यान.
हय.
आनी फेस्त?
आनीक सकाळचे आयताराचे सकाळचे नोवेनाचे मीस.
आनी
फेस्त तुका सकाळचे करतात
पयलींच्यान आनी
पयलींच्यान.
अजून आनी मूज घासता फेस्ताक?
मूज घासता हय. मूज पयलीं आमी सदांच लायताले पूण आतां मूज आमकां मेळनात. मूज आमी फकत वेस्पराक आनीक तुका हेका फेस्ताक
नोवेनाक ना आतां?
नोवेंक लायना.
आनी फोजण्यां लायता?
फोजणें लायता म्हणटच फोजणें भरपाचो मनीस ना आतां, पेदो बी ना आमचे इगोजेक. आमीच ते बाजारांतले हाडून लायता.
ओके. आनी दुसरी म्हणल्यार तुमचें कसलें लॅटीन वो पोर्चुगीज भाशेन गायन वो हिम आसलेलें सायबिणीचें वो म्हणपाचें त्या दिसाक जें आतां म्हणना तुमी तशें कितें आसा?
पयलीं आसलीं आमची सगळें पुर्तुगेज भाशेन जातालें पूण आतां तें आमकां आतां कोण शिकोवंक ना आनी जायना तें आतां. पूण आमी हेका आमचे बोन जेजूस फेस्ताक ते लातीन भाशेन केन्ना केन्ना कोत्ताय.
अजून
कोत्ताय.
Exules filii Ephes.
Spoke about the harvest feast, but what is it locally called as? So this is basically celebrating what is known as Novidad. Now, what is the meaning of Novidad? Novidad basically means newness, and the newness of what? So it is basically nothing but the new harvest. It is the time when the harvest is almost ready, when the fields are almost ready for harvesting, and hence this is what is celebrated. And in Thanksgiving, we offer a sheaf of the first harvest to the patron of the local church, that is Our Lady of Snows in this case.
म्हगेलें नांव तिमोथियो क्वाड्रूस. हांव गांवांत रायचो आनी आमी फेस्ताची तयारी आमची चालू आसा तेन्ना आमी सगळीं एकठांय जालीं. रायकार पिरगोस भाव सगळीं एकठांय जाले. कित्याक हें फेस्त जनसायीक आमचे उमेदीन खुशालकायेन भरलेलें आनी आमकां एक व्हड खुशालकाय भोगता हे फेस्ताचे परबे निमतान.
Advocata nostra.
27 तारखेर आमचे पयले नोवेन, 26 तारखेर आमची माडी, 27 तारखेर आमचे पयले नोवेन. पयले आमी सकाळचे 6:30 पयले नोवेन करता आनी इवनींग मागीर आमचे 5:30 तीस उपरांत मीस 6 आनी मागीर साल आसता आमचे. हिंगासून आमी सुरवात करता.
Misericordes oculos ad nos.
फेस्ताची कणसां रोवपाक घालता तुमी, ते केन्ना घालतात आनी कोण घालता तो?
फेस्ताचे 3 म्हयने पयलीं आमी ते घालता आनी ते आमचे वावर करपी मनीस आसा ते आमचे बायलो ते करता.
ओके. पयलींचे फेस्त आनी आतांचे फेस्तान डिफरंट कितें आसा?
पयलीं फेस्ताचें म्हणल्यार कितें, पयलीं फेस्त बरें जातालें कित्याक पयलीं गार्बेज कांय नासली. अशें कितें हेवटेन तेवटेन पडटलें अशें कांय नासलें. कित्याक सगळे आपआपले पोतयेन घेवन वयताले सगळे. म्हणजे पयलीं कितें जातालें थोडेशे चणे काडयो मागीर कितें खेळणी आसताली भुरग्यांची. आनी आतां पयलीं कपडे कांय नासले, कितें खावपाची वस्तू पयलीं मेळनासली कित्याक सगळे लोक आपले घरा कडले खाताले. आतां कितें जाता, कितें कितें भायलें येता जेवण बेश्टें आनी हें तें खावपाचें आसता तेन्ना भुरगे ते खाता आनी थिंगाच उडयता. मागीर ते कोण काडपाक थिंगा आसना, मागीर ते थिंगाच तें मेळ जाता सगळें.
ओके. पयलीं कितलो लोक येतालो फेस्ताक आनी आतां कितलो येता असो?
पळोवपाक गेल्यार पयलो फेस्ताक लोक चड येतालो कित्याक सोयरी एकामेकाक मानतालीं. इस्कॉलाक पासून सुटून येताले. पूण आतां कितें जालां, इस्कॉल आहा म्हणटा, भुरगे कॉलेज आहा म्हणटा, भुरगे आतांचे भुरगे फेस्ताक येवपाक सोदिना. कित्याक तांकां जाय कितें फकत फेरी बाय भोंवपाक आनी सकाळचे इस्कॉलाक वयता म्हणजे ते सांजेसाक पावता इवनींग. फादर आमगेलो जानेवारी दाखोवता आमचो पादिकार जो 8:15 मीस करता आनी मागीर आमी प्रोसेसींग चालू जावन पणस कातरपाक वयता. थिंगा आमचो पणस कातरपाची रीत आसता. थिंगा पणस कातरपाचें आनी मागीर व्हडले दबाची मीस 9:30 आसता आणि त्या मिसाक आमचो विष्णू साहेब आतांचो आमचो न्योस विष्णू साहेब जाला तो सिमियांव तो हाजीर आसता आनी कोणस कातरपाकूय तो येता.
Nobis post hoc exilium ostende.
पहिली कणस तुम्ही कातरताले ते हांवें आयकलां तुमी चर्चीन आनी शिरोडा खंय खंय
इगोर्जे
धाडटाले.
पयले येता मागीर शिरोडा पयले आमचे कोणस कातरून आमी इगोर्जेन हाडटा
ओके
लोकांकूय आमी दिता. तेन्ना मागीर आमी एक शिरोड्या अशें परंपरा आहा की शिरोड्या कामाक्षी देवळान धाडटाले म्हणून. दुसरे मागीर आमी गव्हर्नराकूय ऑफिसान ताच्या घरान धाडटा आनी मागीर आमचो लोक ते सगळ्याक पावयता. जे कोणस आमी कातरता ते पयले आमचे दान देवाक परबी ते कोणस घेवन आमी सगळे घरान आमच्या दवरता. कित्याक ज्या घरान ते आसता ते भावार्थाचे सायबीण मायचे ते भावार्थान बोलयले कशें आमी ते दवरता. आनी ज्या घरान ते आसता त्या घराब्यान केन्नाच गोठो असो उणो जावंक जायना. प्रोसेसनाक तेन्ना वयता तेन्ना आमचे जायते लोक अधिकारा बरोबर वयतात तेन्ना ते बराबर सांगाताक मेळोन ते वयता.
इरमाव कितले इरमाव आसता.
इरमाव जायते आमचे इरमाव भाव भयणी दोगांय भावा भयणी आसता.
म्हाका तूं रायचो भुरगेपणांतल्यान तुवें फेस्त सारकें पयलां आसतलें गडे. सो कशें तुवें हें करतालो मिन्स फेस्ताचो दीस आसतालो त्या दिसा तूं कशी उमेद कशी हें करतालो.
उमेदीन आसता न्हू फेस्ताक.
हय कशी उमेद करतालो मिन्स एग्जाम्पल तूं भुरगेपणा स्कुलान वयतालो मागीर
स्कूल हॉलिडे आसता आमकां.
हॉलिडे मेळटा.
हय हॉलिडे दिताले कित्याक आमी
Okay.
थिंगा शिकताले न्हू
हय
राया हॉलिडे ऑफ स्नोज. हय आनी आतां मातशें कामान मातशें प्रॉब्लम जायना म्हळ्यार वयताय फेस्ता वयताय. उमेद आसता न्हू सामकी फेस्त म्हळ्यार सारकें फेरयां वचपाचें एश कोन्न भोंवपाचें म्हळ्यार बरें दिसतालें एश कोन्न
आनी-
फेस्त म्हळ्यार सारकें फेरयां वचपाचें एश कोन्न भोंवपाचें म्हळ्यार बरें दिसतालें एश कोन्न
आनी कोणूच जेन्ना काडपा वयताले तेन्ना लूट जाताली पळय
लूट,
तेन्ना
लूट.
अशें केन्ना दुखलून बिकलून कोणाक गेला फुडें तो.
हय हय उडयताले सारकें
उडयताले आनी तूं हाडटालो कोणस
केदोंग
हय.
कोणस
पयलीं
जावपा मेळपा जाय
पयलीं मेळपाक
हय
सुरू
हातीन
जातालें.
सारकें मागीर उमेदीन एश कोन्न
फेस्ताची उमेद दिसली आसली.
ओके
उमेदीन येताली.
ओके तूं ते दीस आनी तुगे आतांचे दीस कितें चेंजीस जाल्यात.
बरी चेंजीस जाले आतां सगळें मॉडर्न जालें न्हू.
सो तुका
पयलीं एश कोन्न बरें आसलोलें आतां मातशें.
So we have been to two parishes, one in Raya and the other in Rachol, both of which have been dedicated to Our Lady of Snow. Now there is an interesting story of how Our Lady got this title of being called as Our Lady of Snow. So the story has its origins in Italy. So it is said that there was an elderly couple who had no children and they wanted to offer all their wealth to the Virgin Mary. So they go to their local parish and inform the parish priest that they wanted to offer all their wealth to the Virgin. But the priest, in a manner of making mockery of the willingness of this couple, asked the couple to get some evidence that proved the willingness of the Virgin Mary to accept their wealth. And at that point of time, the couple didn't lose hope, but went home and probably prayed to her, asking for a proof that could be shown or presented to the priest, showing him that the Virgin Mary was interested in whatever offering they wanted to make unto her. So the fact is that in Italy, where it generally does not snow, that year it snowed in the shape of a church that she desired to be constructed. And there goes the fact that they utilize all their wealth in construction of this very church, and they give the title to the Virgin Mary as Our Lady of Snows, since it snowed in Italy where it generally does not. So this is one of the miracles of the snow that is considered attributed to the Virgin Mary there. And how did the devotion reach Rachol is probably through the Jesuits that came from Italy and thought of spreading that devotion here, who constructed a church in honor of right here in Rachol. And when the people from Rachol happened to move to Raya because of a plague that struck Rachol, the same devotion may have been carried there as well, and you have two churches hence being constructed not very far away from each other, dedicated or consecrated to the same patroness, Our Lady of Snows, that is.
Salve Regina, Mater misericordiae,